chances are you have been doing your goal planning all wrong. There's an old adage that people often overestimate what they can accomplish in 1 year, but underestimate what they can accomplish in 10 years. So, the point being in sharing that quote or reminding you of that quote is that there's opportunity being left on the table in how to make the best use of your time right now, starting today. According to a study that was posted through goalscalling.com, only 20% of people actually set goals. So do the simple math on that. That means that 80% of people out there are leaving opportunity on the table by not creating intention for their lives. Now, when you look at that 20% of people that set goals, only approximately a third of them actually follow through. So you start doing the math on that, and that's a really low percentage of people who are creating this intentionality for their lives, creating more opportunities, and actually hitting the targets, doing the things that they deem to be important in their life. That's an issue. I am Brittany Anderson, president and partner at Sweet Financial Partners out of Southern Minnesota. Our team of professionals has worked with hundreds of people over the years in helping them to realize, set, and accomplish some of their biggest hopes and dreams for their futures. While wealth management may be what we do in the traditional sense, inspiring people to realize that their dreams are possible is really who we are. In fact, myself and our founder wrote the book Dream Architecture. Myself, again, co-authored with Brian Sweet, wrote the book Dream Architecture so that you can create possibility for your future with a focus on the right things. If you go to dreamarchitecturebook.com, you can grab yourself a free copy. And I want to preface it by saying that the word retirement is in the subtitle, but it's more about navigating life's biggest transitions. That's where so much opportunity lies when you're looking at creating intentionality for your future. If you don't focus on creating the life that you want, you'll end up getting the life that is handed to you. You'll end up getting the life that is filled with circumstance instead of proactive measures. So you want to make sure that you're creating that intention and that meaningfulness. I actually think about a good friend of mine who ran their business for years and years and years. They had some good success. And again, success by their definition being consistent new clients, generally a positive and really helpful, proactive team. They had revenue growth year over year. But there was a problem. The problem was that growth was happening by, happenstance. They were going with the flow and they didn't even realize how much opportunity that they were leaving on the table, not only for themselves, but for their team as a whole. So after working through the system that I'm about to share with you, all of that changed. So not only did they feel less stressed overall as individuals, but also within their business, they had a clearer focus on what truly mattered versus, thinking that they needed to be everything to everyone. They ended up having their best consecutive revenue years year over year since implementing this. Now, obviously, I can't guarantee that that's going to happen for you, that you're going to have your very best revenue years. But what I can say is that it will absolutely help you take the proactive necessary steps to achieve what you want most in life. So following this simple formula is what can help you get even more results from your efforts, which is something that everybody benefits from. So you might be thinking that, maybe you're somebody who's already good at goal setting. It kind of comes naturally to you. Maybe you don't call it goals. Maybe you call it targets or creating intention for your future. You may also be on the flip side of this and thinking goals really aren't for you. You thought this was a way to make a great year, not set goals. So life has been pretty good up to this point. So why change anything? The thing that I will say, so if you are somebody who is already killing it at goal setting, that's awesome. You are a step ahead. You're a little bit further ahead in the game than others that have not taken that on in their lives. I too have been a big goal setter, somebody who constantly focuses on the what's next. The issue I found is that for years, I was doing it all wrong. I'd achieved some of my big goals and dreams that I had for my future, but I was doing it so inefficiently. I was in the constant grind, that constant minutia of never feeling like it's enough until I started following the process that I'm about to teach here. So if you're listening on the flip side of that, again, as the person who maybe doesn't set goals, not really been a big believer in that, you wanted maybe kind of the quick fix here for a great year. The good news going into this is that this is not your traditional goal setting model. What I'm about to share is not about, putting things through the SMART filter, the specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, time bound. While those are great things to do, and I suggest that you incorporate some of that, that's not what this is about. So this is something that you can wrap your hands around that's a true system or almost a workflow for your life. So the first step, when we look at the 5 ways that you can make the next 12 months your best yet, the first thing to do is to set your vision for the future. So you've likely heard this before about getting clear on what you want, creating a vision for your future. There's all the warm, fuzzy stuff that's talked about in the personal development space. So the truth be told, there is practical reasoning behind this. When you think about setting your vision, your brain, and again, I'm going into this thing, I'm not a psychologist, I'm not a scientist. However, I have studied a lot around what you put in front of you and how your brain really starts paying attention to that. So we have this thing called the reticular activating system. And basically what it's doing is when you put something in front of your brain, you put intent, you set a vision, your brain cannot help but look for ways to achieve, accomplish, or reach what it is you're looking for. So if you want to go to the practicality of it, this isn't just about, again, the fluff that I mentioned, the hypothetical vision, the hope for the future. It's about putting the right things in front of your mind so that you can actually achieve the things that you want most in this lifetime. So when people talk about setting a vision, setting intent, getting clarity around what you want, putting that out into the universe to see what the universe can conspire to bring back to you, there's actually good reason for it. And there's science behind it that can back why those intentional thoughts are so darn important. So as you're looking at how to make the next 12 months your best yet, make sure that you're clear on what you want. It's really, really hard to give you something that would be fulfilling if you're not putting that intent out into the world. So I liken it to the very basic example. If you have children or grandchildren, think about what the conversation around dinner. So you are, getting ready to feed the troops and you're asking what everybody wants. And everybody's like, I don't know. I don't care. So you whip something up. You whip up some spaghetti and you set it on the table and everybody looks at you and is like, well, I didn't want spaghetti. You're like, come on. I asked what you wanted and you said you didn't care. You were indifferent. You were ambivalent to it. And then I make something and it's not what you want. And now you're complaining. It's kind of a funny, facetious, silly example, but it's very similar to what happens when we're not intentional with what we want. When you don't put out into the world what you want, you're going to get whatever's thrown at you. So let's create some intention. Let's set that bigger vision for the future so we can really lean into opportunity and possibility. And we get to the end of this 12-month period. So you're sitting here 12 months from now and you're doing this reflection, thinking about the year that you just had. You want to be able to say that you hit the things you wanted to hit, that you did the things you wanted to do, and that you accomplished what you wanted to accomplish. They don't have to be big, lofty visions, big, huge ambitions or goals for your future. They can be very simple, practical things. But again, if you don't put some intention behind it, it's going to be really hard to accomplish. So moving into the second point, when you're looking at the ways that you can make the next 12 months your best yet, it is about creating intention and commitment. So there are many, many studies that have been done over the years that show that when you actually write, now physically write, like we're talking pen and paper here, you're physically writing down your goals, your intentions, your targets, whatever the word is that you like, when you physically put them pen to paper, they tend to come to fruition even better, even more frequently. They start to become ingrained in you and what you're thinking, what you're processing. So there's something about that pen to paper that can be truly magical. So that's what this is about when you're creating intention and commitment. It's doing the things that have been proven over the years to actually work in helping you get what you want out of life. So again, pen to paper tends to be, according to many different studies, the best method for bringing things to fruition. But if for whatever reason that doesn't work for you, that doesn't jive with you, if it's something you're going to put off because it's just not who you are, then let's find something that works for you. So it could be typing them out. It could be sitting at your computer. Maybe your thoughts are going so fast typically, you can type faster than you can write. Great, let's do that. Maybe you're somebody who, you know what, you sit there looking at me going, Brittany, if I tell myself I have to sit down and write and or type, I'm never going to get it done. But if you let me just dictate what I want in verbal form, then I'm going to do it. Great. So get yourself a little recorder, pull out your phone, get the apps that can let you dictate and it'll transcribe. One app that's great that I've used personally, I have no affiliation with, but otter.ai has been a good one for me, where you can dictate your thoughts. It then transcribes it. Then you can have an assistant, a partner, somebody in your life help make it cleaner, prettier, put a bow on it, and help, again, bring it to fruition. So the point here being is that don't get hung up on the system or the process when it comes to creating that intentionality and that commitment. You need to just make sure that you're putting it out into the world, that you're getting it out of your brain, because what is the biggest lie we tell ourselves? It's I'll remember that. So you might think that you've got your goals all up here. You've got your targets. You know what you want. It's all in your head until we start actually getting that out, putting that down to paper and creating a level of accountability for ourselves. There's just a lesser chance that you'll follow through. Again, think about the statistic earlier. If only 20% of people set goals and only 30-ish% of those people that set the goals actually, follow through and accomplish it, well, let's put the right tools in your tool belt so that you can focus on accomplishing what you want. Creating intention, creating that commitment. There is a great way, and this is point number 3 when it comes to the 5 ways to making the next 12 months your best yet. And that is through an exercise I call the 12-3-1. So when you are thinking about the next 12 months, rolling 12 months, it doesn't matter when you're listening to this. It doesn't have to be a, new year, a big resolution, start of a new venture. It can be anything in life, any point. So you're thinking ahead at the next 12 months. Ask yourself, what if you could only accomplish one thing per month for the next year? That is 12 key initiatives. So as part of this exercise, you'd write those down. Think ahead at the year ahead. What are some of the things, that big vision you have for yourself? Hold that vision and really think about what 12 things, if you get 12 things done and that's it for the whole year, what would those be? And what's going to truly give you the biggest momentum? Now, once you've got that list, and if you want, you can pause this video and go do that list right now. I think the best time to act is now. You create that list, then you go back through and say, all right, out of those 12 things that I've documented, what 3 items? That's it. 3 items, 3 actions, 3 initiatives. If I did only those 3 things in the next year, that would give me the biggest movement, momentum, progress towards that bigger vision that I have for myself, what would those 3 things be? Highlight those. We're going back to the basics here. This is really simple. So you'd highlight those 3 key things. Then you sit back and you ask yourself the question, what would be the one thing if I did it right now? If I made this decision for my future, be it your personal life, your professional life, your relationships, it doesn't matter, but you committed to one thing in the next month, in the next 30 days, that would give you the biggest progress towards your future, what would that be and why? Now, my challenge to you is to not take the easy thing. This is something that can often be misconstrued, that the easy thing might give you some momentum to move towards the more difficult items, the more difficult, challenging initiatives. My challenge to you would be to take on something that feels hard, that feels like it'll stretch you, that pushes you outside your comfort zone so that you're truly leaning into that big possibility for your future. Because the bottom line is once you check that thing off, again, we're thinking about a 12-month period here. You got 12 consecutive months to work on things. If in month number 1, you check off the thing that you deem to be the most challenging, the one that pushes you the most, and you get that done, think about what the next 11 months are going to entail for you. It's going to give you amazing momentum to where you feel like you can actually do the things that feel hard beyond that. So that's the whole 12-3-1. Outline what you want to get done in the next 12 months, narrow it down to the 3 biggest movers and shakers, and then choose the one that's going to give you the biggest momentum and tackle it now. Eat that frog, get that done, get it off your plate. It will help set you up for a much more successful 12 months ahead. Point number 4. So we're moving right along here into the 4th point in how you can set yourself up for an amazing 12 months ahead. And that is to find an accountability partner. So there was a study done. It was Gail Matthews' goal research summary. And what they stated is that those who set actionable tasks for their goals and initiated weekly progress reporting to their supportive peers tend to achieve 40% more than those who did not. Again, the people who actually set actionable tasks and initiated weekly progress reporting to their peers, they achieved 40% more than those who didn't do it. So the point being here is you may be listening to this going, my gosh, I don't even know who I would report to. Maybe you're not in a career that embodies this type of culture. Maybe you are, a business owner and you're kind of feeling like the lone wolf right now. Maybe you've just retired and you're in this new chapter and you're kind of navigating, how do I build relationships with people like that? Maybe the people in your life don't tend to be goal focused. Maybe they're part of that 80% of people that don't set goals or targets. Whatever the case may be, you can actually have an accountability partner in yourself too. So a couple things here. You can create some sort of weekly tracker that you check in with yourself. Some people call it journaling. Some people, call it, just your goal tracker. Whatever it is that works for you, give yourself something to report weekly progress on so that you feel like you're actually moving towards something bigger than yourself. Another great thing that is available in the world today is that you can actually find like-minded communities in social media. People comment about how social media can be so draining. Well, it can also be very uplifting. Look for groups that are like-minded to you, that maybe have the similar hobbies or interests. That's what the lovely search bar is for. So you can find these networks of individuals to help support you so that you can actually move towards your goals and feel like you have a sounding board of people who really want to see you succeed. The other thing too is just making sure that you have your antennas up to the types of people in your life that really fill you up, that fill your cup, that get you excited for life and that are cheerleaders for you. So that really moves us into the 5th point when you're looking at creating your best 12 months ahead. And that's to surround yourself with the people who have and or live and or have achieved the things that you want to achieve. So again, if you don't have anybody in your life like that right now, this can be somebody that is a mentor you've never had interactions with. I think of a couple people in my life who've been very influential who I don't have personal relationships with. One of them being the creator of Success Magazine, Darren Hardy. He has a Darren Daily video that he shoots that goes out every single day. It's like 5 minutes. It's inspirational. It's a little bit of storytelling. He has been so motivating for me, and he doesn't know that I exist, but that's somebody that I can put in front of me every single day that's going to give me a boost towards focusing on what I want, not falling off track, and seeing purpose in why I still pursue these big goals and ambitions. The other thing that you could do too is, think about people you admire. It could be, somebody famous. It could be somebody that is, again, you think about social media. It can be a good thing. It could be a bad thing. So you can, look up to or, absorb some of these people's content or copy that they're putting out into the world to, really get that boost that you need, with the caveat that you don't want to fall into the comparison gap. So just because you admire somebody's success, it doesn't mean that you know everything about them. So in order to keep yourself in a positive mindset as you look forward at the year ahead, as you look forward at the next 12 months, don't find yourself comparing yourself to others, but rather just use those people and what they've achieved as motivation to get what you want in this life. The other thing you can do is make a list of everybody in your life. All right. So again, we're thinking about how do we set ourselves up for the best year yet? Do a brain dump of all the people in your life and start starring the ones who lift you up, bring you energy, get you excited for the future, who really fill your cup. The ones who are cheerleaders when you're accomplishing things, the ones who are shoulders to lean on when you need it, the people who are lifting you up when you're down. So start marking those people and be intentional about spending more time with them. Just because somebody doesn't live maybe in close proximity to you doesn't mean that you can't be intentional about the virtual coffee date or an occasional Zoom meeting or, whatever it is that'll help you feel that closeness to them and that presence with them. It can be a quick phone call. It doesn't matter the method. What matters is the time and intent that you're putting behind it. So again, if we're looking at creating our best year yet, our best 12 months ahead, part of that is really found in making sure you're not hanging out too much with the naysayers, negative energy, people who maybe bring you down versus lift you up. So go through and write that list so that you know who you can intentionally spend the most time with. So here's the deal. When you're thinking about creating this intention, I've used that word a lot, but it's a meaningful one. Creating that intention for your future, setting yourself up for your greatest success in the next 12 months, there's a slight danger that can happen if you don't manage your mindset through all this. If you're not consciously feeding your brain with optimism, you're not focused on the positive, it can be really easy to fall off course. So this is why you need to tune into the video above that is the 5 ways to become even more optimistic during challenging times. You can click the video link above. In it, you'll gain not only helpful insights, but clear-cut action items that can help you control the quality of your thoughts to focus more on the positives versus what can throw you off track.